Hey everybody, Fishman here, welcome to another video. This is Fisherman Vlog Part 13, though it seems I missed 11 along the way. Now, as I mentioned in the last few videos, I wanted to drill and get that last tank hooked up to the automated overflow system. And as of now, that's all done. This is all set and ready for the automatic fill-up. Currently I'm doing it manually. The top two tanks overflow into the two side tanks, and then as they fill up, they overflow into the drain. Now, as I said, I'm manually doing this right now because I'm trying to calibrate still how much I need to feed this tank. This is the Daphne tank, and currently it's getting, you're going to love this, 2 peanut butter jars full of the green water from the tank on the right every morning, and then one more again in the afternoon. And as I said, I'm still trying to dial it in as to quantity, and then hopefully once that's all figured out, I will hook up a pump system on this, and I will feed it, as I said, automatically, and then it'll overflow into the two side tanks, and that way I can get continuous feed for fry that are going to be in there. We'll see how that all goes in time. One other thing I have done recently is I'm trying pure white vinegar as the vinegar for these vinegar eels. And as you can see, there's a cloud at the top. They are multiplying and surviving. The rate yet is to be determined because it takes at least a month, 6 weeks for these to get going. But they're in there and they're alive, so at least it's not of an environment that they find unhospitable. Now, as a comparison, this is one that's ready to be harvested. You can see there are a great many more in here. But again, this is something that's been hooked up now for months and months, so it's not the kind of thing that warrants comparison. But as time goes on, I will check in on that and see how they are, like about another month from now. Now, the reason for all this is these guys. These are the guppies that I have been growing, the babies that I originally had as a comparison. These are getting vinegar eels, microworms, and ground up fish food, and I wanted to compare them to a green water environment with Daphne and Cyclopses and baby scuds and shrimplets and all that sort of stuff to see if there is a difference. And I mean, these guys are doing really well. They're maturing now. These are the ones that started this whole thing in the sense that I put them in here because if I didn't, they would have ended up dying. And as you can see, they are, well, first off, they're roughly the same age as those fish you just saw, but they are more vigorous and more colorful. That part is not really a valid comparison because they obviously had different parents. But what I want to do now is I want to, I'm going to get a batch of baby guppies, all one batch. And I'm going to subject them to the 2 different styles of growth. One was going to get the vinegar eels and microworms and ground up fish food, and the other is going to get as much as I can, a consistent feeding of not only just green water, but also cyclopses, daphnia, shrimplets, and scud babies. That is going to be an actual valid comparison then to see if, not just if it's more nutritious or whatever, but if the constant feeding actually makes a big difference. I expect it will, but I always like to run these things just to be certain. Now, that's all obviously future projects, and speaking of which, I am finally filling up these tanks, which means, again, of course, not all my tanks are hooked up to the automatic overflow system. That's not a big deal because these are going to be hooked up rather shortly, and I already have all the plumbing and stuff, so probably by next week's vlog these will also be hooked up and ready to go. One other thing I want to do that's seems kind of silly, I think, but something I've actually got an interest in doing. Periodically what I do as I'm working on fish tanks over here is I will take a small container and skim off either duckweed or something else off the surface of the tank, or I'll pull something out with a turkey baster style pipette system, and it's not a lot of water, and having to take that all the way over to the other side of the room is something I don't really it wastes time. It's obviously minuscule, but it's one of these things I like to work on. But the reason for it really is I think I can hook up a little sink. It's going to hook up into the automatic overflow system. Now, obviously, I can't put in tons of actual stuff that has mass to it. Like, I can't really just dump a bunch of duckweed down there. But I can put a screen on it, and I can pour water down that, and then I can just clean up the screen, and then that saves me trips across the room, and I can actually focus on what I'm doing. So that's one project I want to do. It's gonna go into these tanks here are going to hook up to the automatic overflow, and I'm going to pipe in a junction on there so I can actually do a little. I'm going to have to build it, a little sink. It's not going to be like a sink, but it'll be something out of PVC or possibly acrylic, depending on what I feel like doing at the time. And it actually should be kind of interesting. So now, as I've been talking here, I've filled up all these tanks, the top row, and this is the 12-inch deep undergravel filter bed. It's not the best of angle for this. Unfortunately, it's these tanks are 4 inches taller than the size I built my gimbal for. So you're getting kind of a skim across the surface of this, but it's okay because it's the water in that tank's pretty cloudy as I'm dumping that gravel in. All the gravel I've been using so far, the undergravel filter systems, pretty much all of them are it's old gravel I've taken out of aquariums. I get clients periodically will want a color change or whatever, and I don't feel like throwing gravel out. So I do, over time, accumulate a fair amount of used gravel, and it's perfect for this. I put a little bit of lava rock in the bottom, and then I'm going to fill the other 10 inches roughly with this old used gravel, and it's perfect for this. Now, as you can see, the two lift stacks are really quite high. Now, a number of people expressed an interest that they wanted me to run this purely as an undergravel filter initially, so that's what I'm going to do. But in the long term, this is definitely going to go to a high humidity planter system because I just really like them, and they're very efficient. So that's the long term goal for this. I plan on running it though as a straight undergravel filter for some time, but instead of having to jury rig a way of attaching these later on, I'm just going to slide the high humidity planter right down over these two. So it'll be a lot easier to make the transfer later on. Now what I'm going to do, because they're so high here, I will have to, the actual cap, the one that goes on top of the high humidity planter, that's going to get put on today. Simply because it'll just keep the splashing from, going everywhere. And then of course it'll just make a mess. So that's the beginning for this rack. And I have actually a lot of plans for this. There's some plant growth experiments I want to do. I did a bunch of stuff initially a little while ago for soil versus non-soil. There's an augment to that one I want to do. So here it is. This is all filled up. There's an augment I want to do to that one, and that is going to be I'm going to actually put a pot of soil capped with gravel in an aquarium. I'm not going to plant anything in it. I'm just going to see if it leaches sufficiently to result in better plant growth. But anyway, that's all future stuff. This is all set up now for the high humidity. That'll be a little later on, of course. And that pretty much brings us to the end of today's video. I did want to get the other 4 tanks hooked up as well, get filters in them, and have them running for this video. But I ran out of time, and I did want to get this edited and posted for Sunday. So it'll have to wait for next week's vlog. And the other thing I want to do is get them plumbed and hooked up to the overflow. And one last thing I need to do before I can start doing experiments on this, and that is get lights over this so I can grow the plants and do all the stuff I need to do. But at least now, the majority of the renos are done, so I can actually just get on to doing fisher room experiments, which is what I've been really looking forward to. So this cap will keep the splashing down, and that's pretty much it. As always, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. Leave lots of comments, and I'll get to those as well. So the last clip here is just going to be, I'm going to swing this around so you can actually see an overview of this. Lots and lots of flow. This is going to be a great system once, once I get lights, plants, and all that stuff in here as well. Even with all this turbulence, it's going to be interesting to see how this runs. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.